All right, here we go. It's me, Bill. And shaving your head does not count as exercise. So yesterday I was talking about how I'm doing this series on 10 things that you can do for your brain health. And number one is exercise. But I realized did a little more reading today, and I realized that maybe I left some things out, and I want to get really practical with things that you can do. Now, this series is 10 things that you can do. It's not the top 10 things, and it's not in rank order. In fact, you decide which of these 10 things is more important for you right now. Because I know a lot of you out there watching are incredibly fit, and that's great. And so you'll wait, maybe one of these other things is going to be a lot more pertinent to you, and that's good. Now, to exercise, though, there are some certain outcomes that you definitely want to make sure that you're creating, for especially as it pertains to overall brain health, function, and longevity. So, whereas you do things that increase your longevity, they're also very likely to increase your performance in the shorter term. So, um, one of the major outcomes that you want is better cardiovascular health. And the number one indicator of that is your VO2 max. So, meaning, what is your maximum amount of oxygen uptake at maximum amounts of strenuous work? So, that presumes something. It presumes that you're doing something that's incredibly strenuous. So, the idea there is that you want to exercise differently, right? So you probably have a certain routine that you do, and if you're not currently doing anything and you need to start doing something, start walking. That'll be great. Now, when it comes to getting the most out of your exercise, one of the most important things also is muscle confusion. And so, what you want to do is you want to vary your exercises, so that your brain is having to adjust to repairing your muscles in different ways. That's going to give you a greater brain plasticity exercise. so, um, so, uh, so basically, you want better cardiovascular health. You want better strength, and you want better balance. Those three things are very strong in terms of longevity. And then also, you'll see that, better strength and better balance are also going to help you to perform better, because being on balance to, perform a shot is far better than being off balance. And as we age, which, I am aging right before your eyes, but it's also really important to, gather as much strength and have as much muscle mass compared to your total body fat as you can, because then you don't fall off the cliff later with massive amounts of muscle loss. So people who don't really do much, by the time they are 80, they've lost, I think he said, Peter Attia said they can lose 13 kilograms of muscle. So that's a lot. That's a lot. That's something uh, like almost 30, more, maybe a little bit more than 30 pounds of muscle. So keep those muscles going, right? So work on your cardiovascular. You probably want to get on the bike. You probably want to do some sprinting. Yeah, I have started introducing a little bit of running into my walking, and so I have this new strategy that I just decided yesterday I'm going to do. So I'm going to exercise for an hour and work to increase the distance that I go. So, I'm thinking that I might be able to peak out at about 7 miles in an hour. That might be unrealistic, but that's my crazy goal, is to be able to go 7 miles in an hour. And then, for strength, myself personally, at this time, I'm doing TRX, which kind of has a lot of built-in muscle confusion, because a lot of the movements feature 2 different exercises put together, where you're shifting into one and then going into the other. And then, there's a balance component there as well. One thing I also try to do is, when I'm out and about, if there's like a curb where there's just the curb and then there's like, a little bit of a problem there or whatever, I try to use that as like a little balance beam. And, it's always a good idea to spend a little time balancing on one foot and then the other. But, challenge your balance. There's a lot of different ways to do that. And one thing that I've done in my camps before is I've taken the little dome cones and I've created a situation where the kids had to cross the river on the dome cones. The problem is sometimes you get that one chunky kid and they destroy your cones. So you might have to double up for the chunky kid. But, that kid's probably going to be like a future NFL offensive lineman. But, no judgment there. Anyway, so that's really huge, is to make sure that your exercising is varied in some way, that you're going to get the most out of that. And then also you're less likely to have overuse injuries. So now, one thing I'm going to start also doing is the high school where I'm coaching just painted pickleball lines on top of 4 of the asphalt courts. So I know you think of most tennis courts as being asphalt, but we have 12 courts that are painted, right? So they've got the sand mixture with the acrylic paint on top. If you don't have that, then you have a true asphalt court that is not coated. So they put pickleball lines over the top of that, which is actually fine for me, because I'm like, all right, they can use that space, but that's for the PE classes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using spec tennis with my brand new players, and also start establishing spec tennis classes, because that sport is a transition to tennis. And I've seen that before. I did that at my other club. I introduced people to spec tennis, and then, a large percentage of those people became tennis players. There was another time that I did a combined pickleball and spec tennis day, and we did 45 minutes of each, and pretty much everybody admitted that spec tennis was more fun and actually easier to learn, and also encouraged them that they could later learn tennis. So now the big thing about spec tennis that I really like is that you're not going to have as many injuries, because the kitchen is a injury factory, because of the squatting and how people just tend to, plant their feet and then reach and stretch and all that stuff. And good luck teaching them not to do that. But spec tennis doesn't force anybody to stay out of the kitchen, and it actually creates a situation where people can learn to become very aggressive volleyers, and that's a much better transition to tennis, and in my mind, less likely to lead to injury. It also, because the ball is an orange dot tennis ball, then it also, there's more range in the court. There's more running for the ball, and not only that, but the equipment doesn't fail. So, like for instance, if you watch any significant amount of pickleball, what you'll see is that about every 2 minutes, there will be a shot where the ball and the paddle interact funny, either because there's something wrong with the paddle, or one of those little holes on the ball, one of the weird spots on the ball, then the ball just goes in the net, and then people cuss at that moment. And I'm like, wow, that looks like fun. But spec tennis doesn't have that equipment failure problem like pickleball does. And then not only that, but there's like no monkey business of challenging your paddle. I don't know how many people saw that one, but there was a major big time tournament, and apparently everybody's paddle in the quarterfinals failed, but they didn't publicize it. And then in the semis, after the match was complete, after the losing team challenged the paddles of the winning team and won the challenge, and then the other team was defaulted and lost their pride and point. Way to run a sport. Anyway, so that's all I have today. Right now is part 2 of the exercise thing, and then tomorrow I'm going to get into a new topic for you, and we're going to cover these 10 really big things. And I want to urge you to take the challenge of any one of these things that you go, oh, I need to do better there. But mix up your exercise. Make sure that you're getting some cardio. Make sure you're having moments where you're maxing out your VO2 so that you're really huffing and puffing, and get some strength going somehow, especially legs, and work on your balance. So do exercises that challenge your balance somehow, and go out there and have fun and get a good sweat. I am going to go play some social tennis today with my new friend, Luke Slinko, who's the head coach at Al Capitan High School in Lakeside, California. All right. Thanks for watching. It's been fun. I'll talk to you later.